27 pages in and it's already intense. Hello everyone, welcome back to this reading vlog. It's Wednesday, so I didn't even start this on Monday. I'm so sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. Let's be honest. I just finished The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, and incredible. 5 out of 5 stars again. I do think the second book was my favorite, but I also love this. I wish there was, like, I don't know, a novella after it or something, because, like, everything was resolved, but I just wish I could see a bit more, I guess, because I just love them so much, and I would never get tired of reading about these characters. Literally my only complaint is I wish we got to see Vasia's family from the first book, because in their little tiny, like, village, I mean, I guess I understand why they weren't, so yeah, but I loved it so much. Hello everyone, so I spoke briefly yesterday about how I finished The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, and I just want everyone to read it, please. I adore that series. I don't have words, okay? I do think the second one is my favorite, but they're all 5 stars. It's definitely going to be a new favorite series of mine, and I really love them. Also, update, so in my TBR game, I will link that down below, I chose The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien for a book club pick, and I've decided I did not enjoy The Fellowship of the Ring. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't just decide that, I knew that. But I've decided that I'm not going to continue the series. I mean, I might eventually continue it, but I don't want to force my way through it for a book club. And honestly, I haven't even been watching live shows for it, so there's really no point in me participating in it. I just have no interest in them for the moment. I definitely think I will read them, maybe even next year, I don't know, but I don't want to force myself through them and put myself in a reading slump. So I've decided that I'm going to switch that out with The Titan's Curse, which I have already finished, but that is for kind of a book club. It's for the Percy Jackson read along, so I'm going to count that instead, because I don't want to force myself to read books that I'm really not that interested in, and actually thinking of reading it fills me with dread, and you should never do that. You should never dread reading something because you're supposed to enjoy it. Like, even if you hate reading something, at least you're enjoying it, whereas I would just be forcing myself through it for absolutely no reason. So I'm gonna put them aside, and I might come back to them in the future, or I might not. I will see. But sorry for all of you who really love the books. I am definitely going to try the movies though. I think I will enjoy them, but the books just, I don't think, are for me. So that brings me on to my next book. So I haven't started it yet, but it's going to be Beartown by Fredrik Backman. I am prepared to cry. I don't cry in books, but I'm prepared. This is around 480 pages. The writing is a pretty decent size, but the margins are, like, pretty small. Like, there's not big gaps at the start and end. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll finish it before the end of this week. Just everyone seems to love this. I'm hoping I will. Please. I know that there's also a sequel, which I'm not that interested in, but who knows, we'll see. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for the moment. Hello everyone, so it is Monday the 16th. I haven't updated you since I finished The Girl in the Tower, not The Girl in the Tower, The Winter of the Witch, which was Friday? No, Thursday. But I think I started talking about stuff on Friday. What have I done since then? Not much. I am almost finished Beartown by Fredrik Backman. I'm enjoying it. Well, is enjoy the right word? Not really, but it's a good book. I'm not sure will it be a 4 or a 5 star yet. I'm kind of in between right now, or maybe a 4.5 star, but I have less than 100 pages. I have about 70 to go. You can feel like the tension rising, and like nearly like it kind of makes you nervous for what's about to happen. And I mean, I think that's kind of the point. I like, yeah, it's so frustrating, but like it's supposed to be. And yeah, it's pretty good so far. So I'm not 100% sure whether it's going to be a 4 or a 5, but I'll see. But yeah, I definitely get why everyone loves it. It is definitely a pretty good book. And I can't wait to read more. I know that I think this is the favourite, like the most read one, but I know that Anxious People just came out. A lot of people seem to enjoy that. And then there's also the one about the letters, and there's one about a man called Ove or something. A Man Called Ove, My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies, Britt Marie Rose Here, Beartown, and then 2 novellas. And I think there's a sequel for Beartown. But I don't think I would want to read a sequel, not really. But I'll see. I just wasn't really in the mood to read for like the past 2 days, so it's taken me longer than I wanted to, but I'm gonna finish it today, so. So it's now Wednesday. I last spoke to you on Monday when I was just about to finish Beartown by Frederick Brockman, which I did finish that, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's not like a new favourite or anything, but it's still definitely a 5-star book. It was absolutely incredible. I did have like 1 or 2 small things, which honestly I can't even remember. I remember thinking, being like, but then I had just forgotten it by the end of the book because it was so good. Definitely a story that will stick with you for a while, and I thought it was just so fascinating, and it was really just like a character study. Like, so much happened and yet so little happened, because it was this town and their fight for survival, and then like each individual's own fight for their own survival as well. Like, you can't call it enjoyable, but it is so interesting and so fascinating, and I can totally understand why this is people's favorite book of all time. It's not going to be my personal favorite of all time, but it's definitely a book that I'll think back on. So that's a good thing. Then on Monday I also started Aurora Rising, which I got that in my TBR game for a sci-fi, and yeah, I'm now about 50% into it, and I'll read a bit more of that this evening, but I definitely don't love it as much as Illuminae or any of the Illuminae file books. There's too many characters kind of, and I feel like we're halfway through the book and I don't really know them. So yeah, but I'm definitely not hating it, I'm just also not loving it, and I have pretty high standards because of the Illuminae files. Glad that I'm enjoying this. I don't think it's going to be a 5-star, though as far as I know the ending is like wild, so it definitely could actually be if it like really blows me away. But at the moment it's sitting somewhere between a 3 and a 4, so it could go either way, and hopefully it'll surprise me and become a 5-star. I mean, that would be great if I could keep on the 5-star roll, but probably not. I started Legendborn by Tracy Deonn because, if you didn't know, I am planning to read all of the YA Fantasy top 10 in the Goodreads Choice Awards, and those were announced on Tuesday. That video will probably be up on the 10th of December, so you gotta wait ahead of you. But I'm obviously not going to talk too much about it because that's what that video's for. I mean, it's not really going to be a vlog, it's more a discussion. I decided the first one I would pick up would be Legendborn by Tracy Deonn because I had that on Scribd and it's currently available, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. So I started that. I'm 2/3 in now, and I don't know really how I feel about it. I mean, it has such a high average rating. It's like a 4.5 average rating on Goodreads, which is incredible. I mean, I can totally get why, but it's just not doing it for me, unfortunately. I mean, again, by no means am I hating this book. I mean, again, it's another one. It's probably sitting at about somewhere between a 3 and a 4 right now. I don't know, I feel like she's throwing words at me, and I'm like, I don't get time to register what this word means in this world before she starts throwing them more at me, and it's very hard to keep up with. And the main character, like, she's learning all this stuff and she's just picking up on it. I'm like, how are you not questioning any of this? So that's my only real main problem with it. If you were interested in it, it is like a mix of Arthurian legends, City of Bones, and Ninth House, and then obviously its own stuff as well, you know. But those are like the three main things I could compare it to. It's like a mix of all of those. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, totally check this out. And it does have such a high average rating, so it might just be a me thing. I'm starting to think that maybe just YA fantasy is not for me anymore, which would be sad. Almost all of the YA fantasy I've read this year have been like 4 stars or lower. Like, they've mostly been 3 or 4 stars, which are not bad ratings, but considering that used to be the only genre I read and I loved it, it's a little disappointing. And that's another reason why I'm reading the Goodreads Choice Awards, because I'm like, hopefully one of these will be a 5 star. I mean, the one that I can think of off the top of my head that was a YA fantasy that I read this year that was a 5 star was Blood Witch, which that came out last year, so yeah. But please read the Witchland series. It doesn't start off the best, but when you get to Blood Witch, it gets crazy. So yeah, I've only read 3 of the 10 books that are on that list, so I got some work ahead, and I literally made out a schedule that I have to stick to if I want to finish both my TBR game books and also the Goodreads Choice books by the 8th, which is when the results are announced, because I know I'm not going to finish them before like the vote is in, which is the 30th, but I should be able to finish them before the 8th of December if I keep on track with this schedule. That's not including sequels though, because that's not happening. But yeah, but like, looking at the list, if there's one book on that list that I think will be a 5 star, it's Cemetery Boys, which I haven't read yet. It's on Scribd, and I think it becomes available on the 20th for me, so that will probably be the next audiobook I listen to after. Actually no, I have to read The Mad Ship for my TBR first, which I listened to that on audio while reading along, so I will read that first, and then my audiobook after that will be The Cemetery Boys, which I'm trying not to put too much pressure on that book, but if there's a book on this list that will blow me away, I think it could be Cemetery Boys. Even if I don't finish those books, you will still get that video, because a lot of it is just discussing the pros and cons of the Goodreads Choice Awards, so you'll still get it even if I fail miserably at this challenge that I've set myself. So yeah, but hopefully I won't fail at it. So I might mention it here and there in these vlogs, but probably not too much. I've just spent the past 5 minutes talking about it, but that doesn't matter. Hi everyone, it is Thursday and I'm just here to quickly check-in. I haven't finished any books yet, but I'm so close to finishing Aurora Rising. I think I will definitely finish that today, and I also think I'll finish Legendborn if I can not procrastinate on it. So I'm on schedule. So yeah, I don't really have much more to add in from what I said yesterday, except that I'm still enjoying them. I still definitely have, I think my issue with Aurora Rising is I don't think they can write big groups of characters because I don't think they can fully develop them. Because Illuminate, Katie and Ezra, I was so attached to them and I was really rooting for them and I just love them so much. And Gemina, I liked Hannah and Nick a lot, but I was still kind of more in it for Katie and Ezra. But they were developed and all of that. And then Obsidio, there was 6 characters. There was Katie, Ezra, Hannah, Nick, and then 2 new ones in Obsidio. And I don't think all 6 of them got enough time to be fully developed. And so I felt more detached from them. And I think the same is happening in this one because it's a group of 7. So I don't think they're getting enough time focused on them. So I'm not feeling fully attached to them. And obviously I'm still rooting for them, but it's more I'm rooting for them to find out what's happening because I want to know what's happening, not that I actually really care about them personally doing it. So yeah, that was my revelation that I had like this morning. So I felt the need to share. But that's all for now. I also really need to start editing this because yeah, I don't want to have to do it all on like Sunday night. Hi everyone, so it's now Friday. So we're getting there. We're getting near the end of this vlog. I've read quite a bit actually these past 2 weeks. I think I definitely prefer doing it where the 2 weeks combined because it's just a lot less pressure to try and think of things to say. So yeah, yesterday I finished 2 books. As I said earlier in the morning, I don't think I said that I finished Aurora Rising, but I was near the end of it, which I did finish that. And I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I've said it before, but I'm trying not to give as many 0.5 stars anymore because I just want to be like very like firm in my rating. But sometimes there's books they don't fit into your 3-star and they don't fit into your 4-star. And Aurora Rising was definitely like that. So I gave it a 3.5 star. I think definitely because I love the Illuminate files so much that it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I still did enjoy it. It's definitely a fun read, but I don't think it's that good. I think the Illuminate files, the characters were better developed and I was more connected to them and I was rooting for them more. And I also thought the Illuminate files was a lot more funny. A lot of the jokes in here I was like, okay, I think you're supposed to be a funny character, but you're not. Obviously there was some funny moments, but most of the things, like, I knew I was like, okay, I'm supposed to laugh at this, but I don't find it funny. So yeah, I didn't think it was as funny. And that's kind of one of the main things that it's described as. It's like, it's just, you know, kind of like a comedy space story. And I mean, it wasn't like super serious, but I don't think it was that funny. But yeah, I do think the plot was very interesting and I'm definitely going to continue the series and we'll see how it goes. So I don't really have too many thoughts on that really. I have a feeling that it's kind of just going to be a forgettable story for me. Like, I'm already starting to forget it. I only read it yesterday. And then I finished Legendborn by Tracy Deonn and I was so disappointed. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, which obviously a 3 out of 5 stars is still a good rating. And as I said yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? I'm not going to talk too much about those because it's going to be in my Goodreads video. But I will just say that I didn't like the start because it was very info dumpy and I was just getting thrown word after word and I couldn't, it took me a while to like get into it. But the middle, I was like, oh yeah, I get this. I get why so many people love it. It was, it was picking up and I was getting into it. I didn't love the characters, but I was getting more interested in them, and yeah, so I was getting more invested in, I was getting more curious about this world. And then the ending let me down. And that's like the opposite of how books usually are. Usually, you know, it starts good, and then, you know, in the middle you're like, oh, they're just building stuff up, not much is happening maybe. And then the ending is also really good. Whereas for this, it was the opposite. I found the middle part was really interesting, and then the start and the ending really let me down. I'm pretty sure it's her debut, so it's definitely a good debut. Like, I'm definitely not going to deny that. I'll definitely try a sequel, which I know there is going to be. I'm not sure how many books will be in it. My main problem was something in the ending, which it wasn't the main twist, which the twist was predictable, but I don't think it was supposed to be like super shocking, was it? It was something else that bothers me, that is more a me kind of a pet peeve kind of a thing that I just don't like in stories, that most people don't care about. Most people will probably really enjoy this and will probably like the ending, but there's this particular thing that most books don't do it, but I don't like when it's done, so I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it at that. The 5-star streak was broken. I mean, it was only 2 books that I had given 5 stars in a row, but I was hoping for more. Which I am now going to start 2 more books. I don't really like reading multiple books at the same time, but if I do, one has to be an audiobook and one has to be either an ebook or a physical book. I don't like physically reading multiple books at the same time. I don't like that, and I will just finish one book before I pick up the other one. So I just can't. That's just not how my brain works. Whereas audiobooks, I can, because I'm taking it in 2 different ways. So audiobooks, I can kind of separate the 2, but when I'm like using my eyeballs to read, I can't read multiple stories. So I'm going to start The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, which is my last book on my official November TBR, which, I mean, I had 7 books on that. It's only the 20th, so there's still 10 days, which honestly, it could probably take me 10 days to finish The Mad Ship. It's The Mad Ship. I think I said Ship of Magic today, because that is like a 900-page book. But I will be listening to the audiobook like I do for all of those, and I'm excited. That is the second book in the Live Ship Traders, which is part of the Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. The first series in the Realm of the Elderlings is the Farseer trilogy, which I love a lot, and I haven't spoken about it in like 2 weeks, so this is a reminder that I love the Farseer trilogy. Please read it. So yeah, and I liked Ship of Magic, which was the first book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but it was kind of like barely a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm trying not to judge too harshly, because I did actually, the first 2 books in the Farseer trilogy, I didn't love them, but like looking back on them, I can see how it was all so perfectly planned. So I'm hoping the same will happen with this series, that maybe the first book, it's just me getting used to it, and then when I look back, I'll see all of the genius things she did. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen, but we can't know until I do it. But it follows a part of the world called Bingtown, and some traders in this, they have live ships, which, as you could guess from the name, these are ships that become alive, but it's only after 3 generations of the same family die on its decks. And so Althea, her family, owns one of these live ships, and she is fully expecting to become the next captain of the Vivacia, is the name of the ship, when her father dies. But instead, it actually ends up going to her brother-in-law Kyle, and it just follows the entire family doing different things. And yeah, it's so hard to explain because there's so much going on. But The Mad Ship is the second book, so I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I mean, I know I'm not going to hate it, but it's whether I will love it is the question. And then I'm also thinking of starting Cinderella is Dead by Kailyn Barron. Hopefully I will enjoy that. When I first heard the premise, I was really interested in it, but then I started to hear kind of some mixed reviews, and so now I'm like not so sure. Yeah, so my interest kind of dwindled, but it is one of the top 10 Goodreads, so I'm When I first heard of it, I 100% thought it was going to be amazing, and I had very high expectations, so luckily I didn't read it when I had those expectations, because then I'd probably be let down, but I've lowered my expectations a bit, so hopefully I'll be able to enjoy it. So yeah. But I will update you whenever. Hello everyone, so I'm just here to wrap this up. Like my Christmas earrings? We put up the Christmas tree. I know a lot of people are against Christmas in November, and usually my mother is as well. She's like, Christmas tree cannot go up until December, but this year she was just like, you know what? It's kind of been a crappy year. I started Cinderella's Dead and I've actually finished that. That is another one that I'm reading for the Goodreads thing, and I gave that 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I thought I had it was changed my expectations, but it was still definitely not what I was expecting, and I didn't like it. But I think I've come to the realization that I just don't like dystopian books, really. I mean, okay, I don't hate them, but they're never my favorite series. Like The Maze Runner, I like the first one. I don't like the rest of them. Hunger Games, I was okay with them. I didn't love those books. In Divergent, I didn't even finish the second one, couldn't get through it. What other dystopians? Scythe, that's technically a utopian, but is it though? I liked that, but I didn't really like the second and third one that much. I mean, I gave them I think a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I didn't really like them that much. I think I just wanted to like them because they were a Christmas present. But I'm not the biggest fan of those. And then this one, I thought it was going to be more fantasy than it was. It was definitely mostly dystopian with a couple of fantasy elements. I mean, basically like one small fantasy element in it. And I just don't love dystopians, I think. I mean, I suppose you could kind of say The Monsters of Verity by V.E. Schwab is kind of a dystopian, but I love that. But I love that more for the characters, and I love it because of the fantasy elements in it more than the dystopian kind of elements. Like, I would say, which, this is all me, other people might say, no, that is definitely a dystopian, what are you on about? I would say it's like mostly fantasy with like dystopian elements, whereas like Cinderella's Dead, I think is mostly dystopian with like one fantasy element in it. So I gave that a 2 out of 5 stars. A bit disappointing, and I'm 40% through The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, which is a fake book. It's I think 906 pages, and the audiobook is like, I don't know, 34 hours or something. Yeah, it's long. But I'm gonna make my way through it until like, it probably nearly take me till the end of the month, so that's okay. I'm not that bothered by it, but I'm just gonna slowly make my way through it. So yeah, not too bad. I read The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. I give that 5 out of 5 stars. I read Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. I read Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I read Legend Born by Tracy Deonn. I gave that a 3 out of 5 stars. And I read Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, which I've been pronouncing Baron the whole time because I don't know where I saw that or heard that, but I had myself convinced her name was Baron, but it's Bayron. So I'm very sorry for that. I give it a 2 out of 5 stars, and I am 40% of the way through The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. And so far I'm enjoying that more than the first one, so it's definitely on its way to either a high 4-star or maybe even a 5-star. We will see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.